Welcome, everyone. Today's interview is all about generating more leads through social media. Joining us today to shed light on this topic is Mr. J.R. East. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us, J.R. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh my, I'm an old man that lives in Brazil. Yep, that's about it.
Awesome. Let's get diving into it. Now, can you tell us what is social media lead generation and how can it benefit local businesses?
Social media is just another platform. It's just another channel. I think a lot of different channels are now being referred to as social media. It's where multiple people can engage in, as opposed to a blog. A blog is not social media. A blog is singular. I go to my blog, I post on my blog, and I'm communicating with people externally. Social media is where there's a lot of engagement. I can see a post like Facebook. Other people can engage. It's a multi-use platform. TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. The list is literally endless at this point. I'm in a particular area, like here I'm in Florianopolis. If I have a dentist practice in Florianopolis, I'm communicating or have the ability to communicate with the people in Florianopolis. Not only does it build my recognition, people can now see me visibly. Oh, okay, there's this JR East guy. He's a dentist in Florianopolis, reading what other people have to say. I'm getting a lot of social proof. The benefits of having social media platform and having a lot of this user-generated content is that it definitely reduces my overall cost. Let's say I'm paying for ads. I'm paying for Google ads, or I'm paying for direct mail, or I'm paying for other things. By leveraging these social media platforms, I'm able to drive down or arbitrage my costs. And then a few minutes ago, one of the things I talked about is it's hyper local. By engaging these people, by bring that awareness within that area. So they were like, oh, okay, there's this guy right around the corner, and I'm reading these things, and that's a location that's within my proximity geographically to go. We can target not only geographically, but can also target demographically. We can identify things within our content so that we're engaging the type of demographic or the type of interests that people are attracted to. Oh, so this dentist is a pediatric dentist. He deals specifically with children under 12. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I need a pediatrician or a pediatric dentist, that deals with these conditions, whether it's orthodontia or blah, 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 et cetera. We can build our brand within that local area, and it definitely arbitrages and reduces our overall cost.
Social media has definitely changed this whole marketing landscape. Now, can you tell us what are some of the benefits of using social media for lead generation for these local businesses?
That's a great question. As we talked about before, it allows us to do a lot of things. It allows us to get super, super hyper local. I can target very specific audiences within my local geographic area if that's what I want to do. We talk about brand and brand awareness a lot in overall business and marketing. And I would say that there's nothing better than a brand awareness campaign within social media because it's super cheap, pennies on the dollar. It is so wide reaching. I can run a social media campaign or post an ad or just a video on social media right now, and I can get leads right now. It's immediate. It's literally real time. So I would say that those would be some of the biggest benefits. I can target specific audiences. It's super, super inexpensive and cost effective for generating leads. I increase my brand awareness, and I can definitely generate leads in real time.
And that's so interesting, JR. So you mentioned earlier about like the cost effectivity of the of social media for lead generation. Can you tell us more about how that can be achieved for local businesses? Like how can it help increase the revenue?
Increasing of revenue comes as an after effect, right? So what does it do? You could imagine if I've just engaged in the campaign, whether I'm posting a new video or some text, or there's a funny meme that we post within social media, that gets spread, immediately increasing my website traffic, whether it's just to my social media platforms or if I'm giving some kind of call to action to my website. With increased traffic comes increased conversion rates. So I'm not just increasing my traffic, I'm also giving myself more opportunities. If I own a retail store and one person comes through my door all day long, or 100 people come through my door all day long, I have more opportunities to communicate with them about my value proposition. So I'm going to increase the overall conversion rates of whatever service that I'm providing, product or service. The phenomenon with social media is when we're talking about engagement, it's not just that they're engaging with us, it's that we're engaging with them. And the more frequency there is, the more top of mind awareness there is, the more they're thinking about my product or service, which means they may have been thinking, let's say I have a restaurant. Hey, let's go out to dinner tonight. Where are we going to go? Oh, let's go to hot dogs. Okay, kids, let's go. Because there is that continual engagement and we're continually maintaining that top of mind awareness. It does promote more frequency of repeat customers. There's something in the marketing world called RFM, recency, frequency, monetary value, and breaking that down and scoring them. We certainly won't go into that right now, but frequency promotes recency, and social media helps enable that to happen.
Now, how does social media lead generation compare to more traditional forms of lead generation, like direct mail or cold calling?
For anybody that has any gray hair, they know that there's all forms of advertising or marketing, communicating our message to the market. We've been using intrusive ways of outreach for years, such as cold calling. Social media is disruptive, meaning it's getting in front of their eyes when they weren't expecting it necessarily, or it's in their feed, or an ad has popped up. So it still is disruption marketing, but it's not intrusive. They can just walk past it, right? They can slide right past it. When you start talking about costs, let's say the cost of a direct mail campaign or the cost of a cold calling campaign, the costs are very high, but the targeting is pretty accurate. I don't know that there's ever in the history of marketing or advertising been better targeting capabilities than in social media marketing. Social media marketing targeting is literally the best type of targeting that has ever existed. It's a lot more cost effective than most forms of, definitely most forms of offline marketing and even online marketing. Let me take a little rabbit trail here. When you look at Google ads, I'm still not targeted. I am putting an ad up in front of people that are searching for a particular problem or solution to a problem, but I'm not able to target that person. I can target geo areas, but I can't target demographics. With social media, I can target down to the household if I want to, and only those people in that neighborhood that meet very specific criteria, which then turns my advertising dollars much more cost effective and targeted. As I said, we can target very specific demographics within each area that I'm targeting. One of the best things is with all this targeting that social media gives us, it also gives us that feedback loop. We know what our data is telling us, so we can continue to tweak that messaging a little bit more because we're getting that data in real time.
You touched a little bit on the different types of online marketing. Let's talk about that. How does social media lead generation specifically differ from other methods of lead generation? What sets it apart from other online marketing strategies like email marketing or search engine advertising?
I would say email marketing. Email marketing is very one-to-one, right? I'm going to send an email to somebody, and I will argue that email marketing is probably one of the best forms of direct communications that exists today and will continue. However, you obviously need to have their email address. There's all this beginning communication that needs to take place in communication with a targeted prospect. Social media gives us that capability to develop that relationship with a particular group of prospects or a particular demographic or geographic. When we're talking about, let's say, search engine advertising, specifically Google, we can advertise for the problem. We can't target the demographic. With social media, we can target very specific audiences, which is awesome. I can generate leads right now. I don't have to wait for any length of time. I can cascade and distribute a social media campaign, and I can start generating leads right this second.
How can businesses best integrate this social media lead generation into their overall marketing strategy?
I would say there's a lot of ways to integrate. Let's continue to use the dentist example. If I have a brand and I want to communicate to the market that I am specifically a pediatric dentist, first of all, I want to identify my target audience. I want to know who it is that I'm speaking to and how far out my geographic location. I know that people will travel about 15 kilometers maximum. So I want to create a radius, just identifying who it is that I'm talking to. Next, I want to identify what are the types of messages that I want to communicate to this target audience. Do I want to talk about long-term care? Do I want to talk about short-term care and problems? Do I want to talk about orthodontia and preparing the teeth for long-term life and caring for them and braces and et cetera? Once I have my messaging, I can really start drilling into how do I want to communicate that message? Am I going to specifically focus on images? Am I going to create some video? Am I going to do interviews like this where I talk about very specific things around dentistry? Then start creating my images, my videos with that corresponding message. Probably the thing that a lot of businesses don't do is create some kind of a calendar. How much do I want to post? And what kind of posting regimen is going to get me the best type of results? I don't know that unless I have a feedback loop as far as the data that's coming back to me. If I've got a reporting structure in place and I know that this is what I planned on as far as my posting activity, the level of consistent posting, but my reports say that I'm not quite getting the engagement, then I've got that feedback loop. I use this analogy all the time with flashcards. We teach our kids how to learn their multiplication tables with flashcards. What's 6 times 4? 22. No, it's 24. 8 times 9, 71. No, it's 72. We continue to go through these flashcards with our children, and then we put the cards into the deck again, and we go back around. 8 times 4, 32. Yes, great. It's the feedback loop. And when we use that feedback loop in business, such as having data and tracking and reporting, we can make immediate, and there's nothing like the internet to give us that feedback loop. With direct mail or a cold calling campaign or a TV ad, sometimes that lag can be very long. So it takes us a while to be able to iterate, and it's not as iterative. With social media, we can make changes immediately, literally.